Frieren is not like other anime, and here's why that matters. I'm going to be brutally honest with you, I almost didn't watch Frieren. The premise sounded boring as hell. An immortal elf reflecting on her past adventures. Seriously, that's it? I thought I was signing up for the most pretentious, slow-burn snoozefest in anime history. I was wrong. Dead wrong. And 3 episodes in, I realized I wasn't just watching another anime, I was witnessing something that completely breaks the medium's rules. Most anime grab you with flashy fights, mysterious powers, or dramatic revelations. Frieren opens with an old woman dying peacefully in her bed. That's your hook. An elderly human passing away while her immortal elf friend watches, barely understanding what just happened. It sounds depressing, right? But here is where Frieren pulls its first magic trick. It makes you care about a character who is already gone. Himmel, the hero, dies in episode 1, and somehow becomes more important to the story than most protagonists in ongoing series. This is where other anime would have fumbled. They would have added flashbacks, dramatic music, maybe some last-minute confession. Instead, Frieren just lets it happen, natural, quiet, real. And that's when I knew this wasn't going to be like anything else I'd watched. Time is a character, not just a plot device. Every anime deals with time, but most treat it like a ticking clock. Deadlines, countdowns, race against time scenarios. Frieren treats time like a living, breathing entity that shapes everything it touches. When other shows do time skips, they're usually convenient plot devices. 5 years later, our hero is stronger. Frieren's time skips are emotional gut punches. We see decades pass in minutes, watching human characters age and change while Frieren remains the same, slowly realizing what she's been missing. There is this scene, I won't spoil it completely, where Frieren revisits a village after 50 years. The children she briefly met are now elderly. They remember her perfectly. She barely remembers them at all. Most anime would play this for cheap nostalgia. Frieren plays it for existential horror. That's the difference. Other anime use time to move plot forward. Frieren uses time to move souls forward. The revolutionary art of doing nothing here is something that'll blow your mind. Some of Frieren's most powerful moments happen when absolutely nothing is happening. Characters sitting in silence, walking through forests, sharing meals without dialogue. Try explaining that to someone addicted to modern anime pacing. Yeah, they spend 5 minutes just walking, and it's incredible. They'll think you've lost it. But that's exactly why it works. We're so conditioned to expect constant stimulation that these quiet moments hit like trucks. When Frieren finally does something, casts a spell, shares a memory, shows emotion, it carries the weight of all that accumulated silence. Other anime are afraid of boring their audience. Frieren is brave enough to let you sit with uncomfortable feelings. It trusts you to engage with slow-burning emotional complexity instead of spoon-feeding you dramatic payoffs every 5 minutes. Subverting the power fantasy. Most fantasy anime are elaborate power fantasies. Weak protagonist gets strong, saves world, gets recognition. It's a formula that works because it's what we want to matter, to be special, to be remembered. Frieren flips that script completely. Here's our protagonist. She's already the most powerful being in the world. She's already saved it. She's already gotten all the recognition possible. And she's miserable. Not dramatically miserable, that would be too easy. She's quietly, persistently hollow. She accomplished everything and realized late that she missed the point entirely. The real treasure wasn't the demons she defeated or the magic she mastered, it was the brief, fragile connections she barely noticed. This hits different when you're an adult, when you realize that achieving your goals doesn't automatically make you happy. When you understand that the moments you dismissed as unimportant were actually everything. The magic system that isn't about magic. Every fantasy anime has to explain its magic system. Rules, limitations, power levels, training arcs. Frieren has magic, but that's not what the show is about. The magic is just there, like breathing. What Frieren actually explores is the magic of human connection across impossible time scales. How do you form meaningful relationships when you'll outlive everyone you care about? How do you find purpose when you have literally forever? These aren't questions other anime ask because they are too busy explaining how their protagonist's special technique works. Why this matters more than you think. Look, I get it. You came here expecting me to tell you about cool fight scenes or plot twists. Instead, I'm talking about mortality and the passage of time like some philosophy major. But here's the thing, anime is growing up. The medium is maturing beyond power fantasies and wish fulfillment. We're getting stories that assume their audience can handle complex emotional themes without explosions every 10 minutes. Frieren isn't just different from other anime, he's showing us what anime can become when it stops trying to be everything to everyone and commits to being one thing perfectly. Remember how I said I almost didn't watch this? Here's what changed my mind about not just Frieren, but about what anime could be episode 4. Frieren is trying to understand why Himmel collected all those statues of her. She thought it was vanity, ego, showing off. Then she realizes he wasn't building monuments to her power. He was trying to preserve their time together. Every statue was a desperate attempt to make their brief friendship permanent. That's when it clicked. This isn't a story about an immortal elf. It's a story about what it means to be mortal, told from the perspective of someone who isn't. Most anime would have made this revelation into a dramatic speech, complete with flashbacks and swelling music. Frieren lets you figure it out alongside the protagonist, in real time, with the same quiet devastation she feels. Frieren isn't trying to be the most exciting anime, or the most action-packed, or even the most original. It's trying to be the most honest. Honest about time, about relationships, about the weight of choices we don't realize we're making. In a medium obsessed with being bigger, louder, more spectacular, Frieren whispers, and somehow, that whisper carries further than any scream. That's why it matters. That's why it's different. And that's why, if you give it a chance, it might just change how you think about not just anime, but about the time you have with the people you love. Trust me on this one. I almost missed it too.